Hey guys, welcome everybody. I know last weekend you would have missed my podcast. I got too busy on one side, and secondly, I also thought it's a peak mesocycle time right now, so I wanted to give a little extra time for you guys to focus on running and recuperating and all that. So I gave a 1 week off, and I'm so happy to be back on air with the next set of special guests in my podcast. And this time also, I'm surrounded by some very cool people, uh, friends for a long time. And I'm so glad that they're also, within quotes, my students in this running program. So let me take some time and let's just start with a bit of an introduction of our guests, and then we can go from there. Please go ahead.
Hi, Bala. It's really nice to be here. Hi, everyone else. My name is Sam Jha. I live in San Diego, California, with my wife and two kids, Ishan and Soumya. By the way, they are also runners. To give a little bit about myself, I grew up in India. I did my education in Bihar, Bengal, and Mumbai. I went to college with Coach Bala. My undergrad was in marine engineering. After graduating, I sailed for about 6 years. By the way, I was never a great sportsman or something during my college days. I just played some sports what I felt like, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, have you ever even run in college? I don't even remember you even thinking about running in college. Have you run in
No,
college?
I did not. I did my best to get out of any physical activities as I could.
That's what I was thinking. Yes, correct.
And after graduating, I sailed for about 6 years all around the world as a marine engineer. And just about after 6 to 7 years, I decided to go for higher studies in the US. I came to college in Virginia. It's called College of William and Mary to do my master's. After graduation, I switched my industry, went to telecom industry and worked there for, worked for different companies like Nextel, Sprint, then joined Qualcomm, worked in Qualcomm for about 10 years or so. But in between, I also continued my education or educational journey. I went to Harvard Business School about 5 years ago to get a degree and alumni status from there. That was my education. But again, education never stops. You keep learning. As I say, education is there in runner's high with Bala. I'm learning a lot of things about the program, about myself, and so many things. But I want to just tell you that, last 1 year during COVID, which has been life-changing in so many ways for so many people of us, Runner's High has given me a complete different perspective. I have done so much better surviving the last year thanks to Runner's High with Bala. So
Amazing.
that's all about myself.
Amazing, Sam. This is such a great introduction. So true what Sam says, education is lifelong. Sam's daughter, Soumya, she's what, 7 years old? Is that right, Sam?
She just completed six last month.
Yeah, 6 years old, youngest runner.
5K.
Yeah, youngest runner in our group, and she is like super excited. Sam's son is also not that old. He's like what, 8 years old? Eight or
He's
7?
9.
9 years old.
Yeah.
Super, sincere guy. I've never seen more sincere person than his son. His father has got only 10% of his sincerity. If only he had 10% of his sincerity, he probably would have been an IAS officer or something, so meticulous in what he does. And on top of that, Sam, what he forgot to mention is that me and Sam right now work together. We are in the startup Alpha Technologies where I'm leading, and he's leading our product strategy. He's a chief product officer of a current company. And it's interesting, when he was in Harvard Business School, he was coming back at the time, had no clue. He was just going back home to West Coast, and he came through my house. And as they say, right, small things, big things happen. A small thing, we just met, and I don't know, we talked, and then I think I convinced him that, leave everything, leave Qualcomm and come and let's do this crazy thing called Alpha Technologies. And literally 3 months later, he quit his job, and all of us are working together for what, 3 years now in this journey. So it's been a very, very awesome journey. And Sam and me are best friends, not just gone to school together. We are best friends, small knit group from 1989. So it's been an amazing journey. So glad that he's now part of Runners Eye Group as well. And we'll talk a little bit more on that. And welcome, Sam. Really
Thank
nice
you,
to
Bala.
have you in this podcast. Let's invite the next guest. Please go ahead.
Hi Bala, my name is Raghu. Full name is Raghu Raghunath. I live in Boston, and I was raised in South India in a city called Hyderabad. I did my undergraduation. I'm a mechanical engineer. I did my undergraduation as a mechanical engineer. I came to this country. I forget how long ago, but I came here to do my graduation in computer science. I graduated from in New York Tech. That's a college in Manhattan. And currently, I work for a company called Morgan Stanley. Everyone should know about it. I'm an architect there. I have two kids. Elder one's name is Vishal, and the younger one's name is Ritvik. And actually, Runners High has quite a bit of my family in it. My wife is also a runner, and my sister-in-laws Swati and Aparna are also runners participating in the same program. And my brother-in-law, uh, uh, Srivatsan, he's doing a full marathon. My wife is doing a full marathon too uh, uh, this season. Um, what else can I add?
You have how many sons you have, Raghu?
I have two sons, Vishal and Ritvik. I just mentioned. Um, and I, of course, my background in terms of growing up was my dad was in the army, so he retired as an army. He retired as a major general. So as I was growing up, I was introduced to many sports as I was growing up. So sports was not new to me, but it was fun to grow up with sports. I played a lot of tennis, uh, and I still play a lot of tennis. I actually represented my university in tennis. Uh, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty about Raghu now is you guys should know I'm actually very excited to be part of two of the first times that Raghu has done, two first time things. Many years ago, maybe 15, is it 15 years ago? I think I was very excited to be like sort of kind of, facilitating this expedition to go to Kilimanjaro. And I think that was one of your first times to the mountains. Is that right, Raghu?
That's right. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Two people here in this group I have done a hike with, and Kilimanjaro was my first hike. Sam and Bala both were in that hike, and it was a really fun trip.
Yeah, first time in the mountains. And after like almost 13, 14 years, we were together, as they say, right? When you go to the mountains and spend like a week, that's when you really bond with others because we all go through the same thing. It's a tough thing and all that. And half marathon is sort of a similar thing. It's a tough thing. It's not like the mountain kind of a tough, but it's a different type of toughness. And that's part of the reason all of us feel connected too, because we're doing the same difficult thing and we all understand each other's sacrifices and work and all that. So I'm so glad that while I was part of the journey of his first mega trek and mountain climbing, I was also part of his journey as the first, another kind of mountain climbing, which is half marathon, which we'll talk about it shortly. Welcome,
Thank
Raghu.
you. Thank
Welcome.
you, Bala.
Really, really excited to have you here. Let's invite the next guest.
Hello, my name is Yash Bhate. I'm part of the Bhate family. My dad, Akash Bhate, Anjali Bhate, and Pooja Bhate, we are all running together, which really motivates all of us and challenges all of us. Um, I did do a little bit of sports in middle school and elementary school. I did play badminton, tennis, and I never did running, like except for gym classes. And then in high school, I decided to join Bal Uncle's running program. I am a senior in St. Joseph High School, so my interest is going into business and technology. And right now, I'm looking into the College of NGIT or Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Amazing. Good luck on. You're right now a senior.
Yes.
It's an important year in front of you, and good luck for your college, which is going to be the funnest time of your life. If you ask me or other uncles who are sitting right now, all of us will say hands down college is the greatest time of our life. Won't you guys agree with me, Sam and Raghu?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those 4 years you can never trade.
Exactly. So, we are in one way we are jealous of your next 4 years or 5 years, whichever is the case may be. And your running is only going to do well because mentally fit, physical fitness is mental fitness, and both of them come together. You can do some amazing stuff in college. Good stuff. Welcome, Yash. So let's talk about now running, and this time I want to start with Raghu. So Raghu, tell me, like, how did you get into half marathon training? I know you are fit, you've done other sports, and you told me that you've never done running before. Then how did you decide to get into a half marathon training of all the things?
Yeah. So when last year, when we got stuck with COVID, one thing that really hit hard in my lifestyle was physical activity. And I'm usually used to being very active in the sense I play games, I go to I actually used to do kickboxing, and everything stopped for me. And I thought, okay, and running was not actually on my list of things to do because running was something I didn't enjoy. Um, and I would say the main motivation behind someone pushing me into running is my wife, definitely, because uh, every time there was something that would tell me, nah, running is not for me. But I would say number one factor was COVID, no activity. And number two factor is wife motivation, because she was the one who actually said, why don't you take up a new challenge? I mean, you have done all these things. You have not done running at all. Why don't you just try it out and see how it works for you? And of course, the last point I would like to highlight is the hiking trips itself, because in the hiking trips in Kilimanjaro, and recently we did um, the
EBC.
yeah,
Everest
EBC
Race,
trip.
yeah.
EBC trip also, I felt that people would be ahead of me, and I always thought I could do better, and I need to get physically fitter to do better. So I would say that would be the other reason where pushed me into running.
So
And
you want to get into some cardio fitness as well, not just muscular fitness.
that's
That's
right.
really
Yeah.
where the logic is. Good stuff. I can totally see that. And this is something just a point for audience. Just going and lifting weights and all that is one type of fitness. Trust me, just because you can lift 200 pounds of weight doesn't mean you can go and do a half marathon. No way. These are two completely different type of stamina and fitness. And I think that's what Raghu felt and experienced, that, man, I thought I was fit, but really I'm not that fit when it comes to cardio. And this is another good route. So a good combo is why you do strength training as well as cardio, so that you can not only do just cardio but also do some strength training and build some muscles. Especially youngsters out there like Yash, you should do both. Then you are in the prime age where you can build some fantastic muscles too if you focus on a little bit of muscle development. It'll be good for you. But thanks, Raghu. That makes total sense. And
In fact, I want to add, Bala, that I should not be saying this thanks to COVID.
that is true. I know exactly what you mean. There is no negative connotation or a positive connotation, because now you have the time and you didn't have other opportunities. Otherwise, you would have gone and played tennis,
Right.
instead of running. And of course, Suja, I know she's a taskmaster. It's difficult you call it motivation. I'll use a different word, which is like cracking the whip. And I think Suja did that, and she was able to get that for you. Well done, buddy. Thanks, Suja. And Raghu is such a good addition to the team. Sam, what about you, man? How come you decided running?
Half marathon. I still can't believe I'm running it, by the way. Um, all this while, all in my life, I never saw myself running, and I saw other people running, and I thought, what's wrong with them? Why are they running? Because nobody's chasing them. But as I used to see your text and posts, and Bala, that you've been running, you've been biking and hiking. I always felt some kind of what should I say? Envy is not the right word, but I wish I could do that, or two, kind of a thing. But then over the years, I had acquired some kind of, I would say, health issues, right? I was asthmatic, and I had knee pains because I used to play racquetball about 10 years ago or so. And whenever I would have some pain in my knee, I would say, oh, I have a knee broken. Something's wrong with my knee. I shouldn't do physical activities. So I used to reduce it. But as I started to see, as I started to reach 50, and I started to see that my physical ability is going down slowly in my life. every year I'm not able to do something that I could do last year, something like that. And I started to worry that when will I become a kind of a person who doesn't run much, who doesn't do much activities, etc. So I read a book. It's called Younger Next Year. That means whatever you are today, you'll be younger next year. So I sounded very interesting. I started reading the book, and the book basically breaks down about how your physical abilities can increase or decrease based on certain activities. It talks about, evolution, how humans have evolved and what you need to do to stay in certain shape. That, and then of course, Bala is there, my good friend who's coaching it. So you feel some kind of psychological safety.
Correct.
That, okay, even if you do something wrong, it's okay to do it with a friend. So those are the things came along, and COVID helped where I'm not traveling as much I used to do. So with all that put together, I decided to give it a try, and give it a try, not with just a 5K or something. This I learned from my Kilimanjaro hiking, that you just put a very high goal for yourself and only worry about putting one step in front of the next.
Very good.
And before you know, you will reach that high goal. And even if you didn't reach, there is no shame in it. You only learned so much more. So with that mindset, I decided to just go for a half marathon. And I was surprised that I was able to finish it.
That's very, very, very well said, Sam. A lot of key points you touched, right? Just want to pull some of this out from an audience standpoint. One is having the ability to have a mega goal, reach for the stars. Even worst case, if you fail, you'll get to the skyscraper. If you only reach for the second floor of a skyscraper, worst case, you'll only be in the first floor. That is exactly what you did. You reached for the stars, what you thought was the stars at that time. And we'll talk about it, whether that thinking of that being a star itself is valid or not, is I think you want to talk a little bit about that too. The second thing I think that played with you, which in my opinion, when I look at you, when I hear you say that story about you and me, like comfort zone and all that, there's one more element on the comfort zone, I think, because you knew me as not that athletic and all that guy in college. I wasn't that different from Sam. Like, it's not like I was running a marathon or something. Nothing. In fact, if Sam was level 5 in fitness, maybe I was level 4, level less than him. So I think there was that personal benchmark that Sam could identify with. That, if Bala is not always been unbelievably fit, he has transformed himself to running and all that, then I can also do. There was that mental background that was there. And I want to say that's a very powerful thing, because that's why families are running right now. Pooja Bhate was able to inspire Yash and Anjali, and because they were able to see Pooja right in front. It's not like half marathon, some third party doing it. It's our own daughter, whom we knew was difficult, and she did a half marathon, then maybe I can do too. And I think that thing also went through, so which is very powerful. And you can see that in Sam's family now. Sam is doing that, and his 2 young kids are looking at Sam and they are doing too. So what I want to say, Sam, is you are now not only running for yourself, you are now running for an important benchmark for your kids at an absolutely young age, which is a very important thing you're doing for your kids.
Yep.
Would you agree with that thought?
Absolutely, Bala. I mean, I don't think my son Ishan would have gone into running, but he saw me running, and then he saw the highs that I used to get.
Yeah.
So he said, "Dad, can I also try?" I said, "You should absolutely try if you want to." And then he started running, and it has become a reason for me to run now. I not only run for myself to stay fit, which I've always wanted to, but it gives me immense pleasure in the way when I run with my son or with my daughter. And I look forward to that time when we can run together.
Yeah, it's a beautiful bonding now. 9 and 6-year-old running together, doing an activity together for some time. And it is not just one-off event. It is like a 16-week continuous event. It's not like, so you got to plan for it. So there is pre and post bonding. A lot of things happen there. Really nice. And it's a positive thing. It's bonding over a positive thing. So fantastic. Yash, what about you, buddy?
Yes. As you mentioned before, my sister started running, which inspired my whole family. But when my sister started running in season 2 or season 3, I always forget. But season 3, when she started running, she was training. I saw her training, and I was like, I could try this too. So in March and May, I would run 5 to 6 miles easily by myself in like in the neighborhood. And my sister saw me running, she got inspired. So I inspired her and she inspired me, so it was like a double inspiring moment. um and then she told me that you should join this program, a Uncle's program, which is it's structured training program, and I was like, all right, let me just give it a try. So then I tried it, and now here I am completing my first half marathon, and now going to my second.
What an inspiring story, Yash. And I'm so glad. See, it is one thing to have someone to inspire and motivate you, someone whom you relate to very closely. But it is also another thing to allow yourself to be motivated and inspired. You know what I mean? There is two
Yeah.
elements to that. So you have done that. So I really am very appreciative of, you saw your sister and said, you know what, I'm getting inspired. Let me also do something like my sister. That requires a tremendous, and are you the one of few people who have done a half marathon in your 12th grade? Do you know anybody else who's done a half marathon?
No, I don't know any other
Think
people.
about that, buddy. Think about that. That's pretty big deal. I know in our group, no youngsters, 7 and 8-year-old go around running 10 miles. So this half marathon has gotten devalued a little bit in our group. But if you compare yourself to your batchmates, I'm sure you're one of the rising, shining stars. I mean, when we were in 12th, I didn't even think of doing even 3 kilometers. Forget about 26, 30 kilometers and things like that. So wonderful, really nice. Okay, so let's go to your training program then. Okay, you all decided to get in. Getting in is the easiest part. I'm sure all of us will agree. Anybody can get in, but getting out in one piece and doing the right thing for the 16 weeks is the more difficult part. So let's talk about that 16 weeks, and maybe we'll start this time again with you, Yash. Tell me a few highs and lows of your 16-week training period.
So during my 16-week period, there were a lot of highs and a lot of lows, right? So one of my highs was that with my family, especially this season, our whole family goes on like this challenging moment, like we all come together in the living room and we all stretch together. And that like brings the family bonding together, right? So during like one our family, we encourage each other to run, and from that we have a lot of fun running. Like last season we went to the beach together and we all ran.
Yeah.
And like those moments are those like highs that you get, you know and then like before, when I first joined this program, I thought like I thought that I couldn't run 1 or 2 miles continuously. Like I would have to stop, walk for a bit, and then continue running. But because of Balanco's structured program, I was able to run 1 to 2 miles in like continuously and like nonstop, which really helped me. Another low that I had is the knee injury that I had during the peak meso cycle to like my half marathon day, that I kept having knee injury, which like resulted in me having like to push myself more and more to conquer the challenge, conquer each run, and like do each run. And in total, these 16 weeks will all provide you with highs and lows, and you have to be able to appreciate the highs and take the lows and find out a way to make the lows better.
Beautifully said. That's a golden word there right away, buddy. Appreciate, no, learn to appreciate the highs and learn from the lows. Many folks sometimes they just ignore the highs. Can you believe it? They just forgotten the art of enjoying successes. They have become masters at brooding over failures, but forgotten the art of how to enjoy success, which is what you are nicely putting it. Would you guys agree, gentlemen here? First
Yeah,
thing to learn to enjoy successes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Raghu, talk a little bit from your side, buddy. Highs and lows. How did you enjoy successes?
Yeah, in terms of highs, I still remember thinking that I was very physically active, and I knew I was kind of doing a lot of fitness things. But one thing I was not able to do was to run continuously for 2 miles. In the sense that I would even on the treadmill, my wife would see me running on the treadmill, but then I would always stop after, say, 2 minutes, or, I would push myself so much, but I would never be able to finish 1 mile continuously. But then when I started running with the Runners High program, it was amazing to see that I was able to run continuously. That is absolutely my high, because to accomplish that, even on the treadmill, now I'm able to finish those miles continuously. Excuse me. And that's absolute high for me. I mean, to actually finish up and to overcome uh, that particular barrier that I had about running, that is an absolute high for me. That's a success story for me.
What about the lows?
In terms of lows, actually, I cannot really think of any lows. One thing I would say is, because of COVID, the activities all came down to zero. It was a very low point for me in life, in the sense, so I would just say that the lows was that, and then this running actually converted that low into high, as Yash was saying. So uh, I really don't think I have a real low in the 16 weeks, because
That's true. Yeah,
yeah, my main challenge was to get it done. Meaning, it's my first time I'm participating in a half marathon, and my goal was very clear. I have to run continuously and get it done.
correct. I remember you didn't have any injury scare or anything, and
Yeah,
maybe the only one I won't call it a low, but one pressure you had was you were under Boston Bazooka's umbrella.
that's right. Yeah. I didn't want to actually. I was thinking about that, but I didn't want to highlight that as well.
No, I'm just saying it in a funny way. You are in the Boston Bazooka umbrella. There is no space for missing training. So you better get your act together every day. I'm sure
It's
that
like an
was fun.
army training program.
That was fun. That was fun.
Boot camp.
Sam,
Camp, yeah.
what about you, Sam? When you think
So,
about
Bala,
your
before I tell about highs and lows, I just wanted to tell a little bit about this, the mental journey, what happens, what Raghu was talking about, right? That he could never run 2 miles and then things like that. What used to happen with me in my own mental journey, that if you don't go through the structured training program that Coach Bala has, is you fine day, sun is shining, you decide to run. Now you haven't trained your heart to start pumping at a certain rate, but then you said, hey, I'm decently young, I can run 3 miles. You haven't trained your heart to run for 2 miles or 1 mile, you've gone for 3 miles. And then obviously you see that you're limited, your heart cannot pump that way. So you say, you know what, I'm too old to run 3 miles, so maybe let me cut it down and things like that. You start to have wrong inferences
correct.
from these events, which are caused by you without the structured training program. And that's why in the structured training program, as you follow the program, you slowly raise the ability of your heart, your muscles, so that you don't think you're limited by your muscular abilities or cardio abilities, because it's a structured program to raise it slowly to a level which is required to meet your end goal. So that's what I just wanted to plug that in. It happened with me in the
Beautiful.
past. I used to go running and I'll say, oh, I'm going to run 3 miles today. And I'm going to, and after 2 miles, I'm out of breath, all those things. And I'm like, oh, I'm too old to run. That's what used to happen.
Absolutely. Beautifully well said.
Yeah. So now coming back to highs and lows. Well, I had many to talk about, but I'll mention a few. As I said, I was not a runner and I had thought that I'm too old to run. So every time I finished a milestone, it used to be a super high for me. For example, I could not run 1 mile at a stretch. So the day I finished 3 miles was a super high. I remember after I finished 4 miles, that was like, wow, I must call Bala and let him know that I ran 4 miles today, right? Same way when I did, I think 6.5 or 7 miles one day. And I can't tell you how happy I was when I did 10 miles, unimaginable just a few weeks before, right? That's the kind of feeling I used to get. And that is the reason, those happiness in me, that was the reason why my son decided to, join as well. But I can tell you, those are some of the examples high, but there are many lows that comes in between. And Raghu is lucky and being a sportsman that he didn't have all those lows. But many of us and many of the people in the audience will feel those lows. I felt a few because I used to play racquetball and my knee used to pain. So I used to think that I have some really structural problem with my knee. While running, I realized that because of these knee issues, some days I missed my run. I talked to coach and then figured out that this is not the structural problem. This is simply the muscles around the knees, which is paining, because those pain used to go away after some time, right? So before I had all these things, right, I had put some kind of a disability cap on myself that I am not able to run. This is whether it's a cardio ability or structural knee ability, whatever it is. So this is what it is basically. Some people in psychology call metacognition. Cognition is that what you know, and metacognition is that what you know to be true about yourself or some other beliefs of yourself. What you know that you know. So my metacognition was telling me that I'm too old to run. I can't run more than 2 miles or that too not in a stretch. But all of them turned out to be false metacognition about myself. It's just that I needed a structured program, some guidance and belief in myself, which removed my disability cap that I had placed on myself, on my own self. And that's what actually helped me is to get through those lows. But in the end, the highs won over lows. And I ended up doing the half marathon. That's what I would say about the 16 weeks.
What a beautiful, I loved this section. I have so much to hear, learn from you all also. From what Yash talked about, enjoy the highs and learn from the lows or manage the lows, to what Sam, you are talking about. I almost, when you were talking about it, I was understanding it as why you are getting a high. Why it is, this running is special, because it is a design for you to get a win every week. So half marathon is not the only win in this. And then because you work hard, you doubly enjoy that win. It's not like somebody gave you a lottery ticket and you won. You worked hard to get that win. And that is what is the name of this program, Runners High. You get a high because of that. And that's what so beautifully you explained, Sam. That's great. Thanks for that. So now let us switch gears. Sam, let's go back to you this time. Put your sort of the half marathon day hat whenever that happened in San Diego. I remember I saw those videos. Tell me to the journey of that day. What happened and how did you feel, or a little bit about that, please.
Sure. So when the D-Day came, right? Obviously, I had heard the messages about how to not have anxiety about it, sleep well, and all that. I'm not a morning person, as you know, Bala, due to my work schedule or whatever. I decided, okay, I'm not going to run in the morning, whatever comes, right? So I have no pressure of waking up in time and going something. So I had a good sleep and then decided to run in the afternoon, right? And then something eventful happened, which was not necessary, but it also gave me some kind of a high that day. That as I was finishing the 4th mile, I believe, or maybe 3rd mile, my son fell, who was also running with me. He was doing his 8K. He fell, and then the next thing I know that he got up and I see blood all over his knee. Now for a minute, I'm like, okay, what do I do? Do I just stop this run, cancel it, and attend to my son? But to my surprise, he gets up and says, Dad, I'm okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm good. And I can see that there's a lot of blood on his knee. And he kept slowly walking. He walked for about 2 minutes, hardly 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, and started running again.
Wow.
So I was getting high from this description of resilience that you had talked in one of your podcasts, I believe, that he was just showing his resilience, that he's hurt, but he still wants to finish that goal. I was so proud of himself, proud of him, and that also gave me a high that when he can do this, I can finish half marathon today.
Exactly.
Right. So that's how it started. After I finished about 6 miles, I decided to take a bite on apple. I ate an apple. So remember your podcast about glycogen and things like that. And then next thing I know, I was almost 10 miles. And that's when my family came. I was running on the road. They came by the side, cheering and hooting, and they just gave me extra bounds of energy. I said, you know what? I think I can finish 13 miles. And I went on, and I finished 13 miles. Oh my God, that was one of the. I don't know. I was high for a couple of days actually, not few hours.
Yeah.
Next 2-3 days, I was kind of a high, so proud of myself. Told all my friends as if I've achieved something mega thing in my life.
You did achieve. I mean, not as if you did achieve 1%. Remember that 1% number. 1% of runners are marathoners. That's it. This marathon finishing in runners I group has become so devalued here. Every other guy is finishing half marathon and full marathon, but you have to feel very proud of that achievement, especially the first one, because first one, your mind doesn't have any mental benchmark. You're
Right.
just going with the belief that I only did till 10, I need to do 13. Will my body break down? No idea. You're just still doing it. Now you're set. Now you're set means what? Still it is the same difficulty, but at least there is a mental benchmark for you. What an
Yes.
achievement. Well done, Sam. And how long it took for you to finish your first half?
I think I had kind of set a bar in myself that it'd be nice to finish before 3 hours. And I did. I think I did end up at 2 hours and 53 minutes or something.
Beautiful start. Beautiful for a first half marathon. And I'm sure you had body pain and all that, but the runner's high was a lot higher than the body pain.
Absolutely. No, no doubt whatsoever in my mind. And just one thing to add there, since we talked about timing, that this is another trap I'm realizing. One trap is once you finish it, and if you put a mental benchmark that I must finish it by this time, then if you don't finish it, you're preparing yourself for the unhappiness. This is what I learned. This time, I set a goal for myself. Last time I did 2 hours and 53 minutes, right? This time I can do 2.5 hours. And then I did my last 10 miles, and I can calculate in my mind that I think I will be few minutes over 2 hours and 30 minutes. And it set some kind of unhappiness thing in my mind. And I'm like, what am I talking about here? It just occurred to me that how silly we can be. And we just put limitations on happiness ourselves. That, so what if I finish in only 2 hours, 40 minutes? First of all, that's a huge gain. It's a 13 minutes of gain from last time. And second of all, I just finished a half marathon.
I know.
What I'm happy about. And because if I set myself on the trap, I just got out of it yesterday thinking about it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to put a trap on myself. I'm going to enjoy the run the best I can. And if so, it happens in 2 hours and 30 minutes, great. If it doesn't happen, great.
Still great. Very important words, audience. I hope there are some folks in the audience who will beautifully relate to that point. We should almost call it as a negativity trap, like pulling defeat from the jaws of victory. This is what he has explained very nicely there, Sam. Well, thanks for that thought. Very, very nice. Yash, what about you? How was your first marathon day, half marathon day?
So going into my half marathon, I was nervous, in fact, during dinner, I still vividly remember the dinner for my sister, my mom, and me. Like, we were gonna run that day, right? So we were all like nervous, and we're all talking on the dining table, and then we go to sleep, right? Like we all talked about how nervous you are and how we can do it, and my sister was just giving us words of encouragement, in the morning I wake up, right? I wake up at like 5. I go into my sister's room, I say, are you ready? And I see her doing yoga. So I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, like she's getting ready, and then I go downstairs and my mom's like preparing everything. So I get that sense like, oh, like something big's happening, like my half marathon is going to be happening in a few hours. I go out to WhatsApp, and I scroll through WhatsApp, and I just looking at the message, and I see Raghu uncle, Shalini's husband, Shalini auntie's husband. He started running his full marathon, right? So I'm like, okay, now I'm getting that sense that like I can do, if he's running at 5 a.m., then I can run my half marathon during the day. Going into the day, I felt a lot of nervousness. And then during the race day, me and my sister, we told ourselves that we would never meet at all. Like during the whole race, we wouldn't meet at all. And then there like at my fifth or sixth mile, I met her. So then we took like a short video of me and her talking of how like we met each other halfway through, right? I also talked a little bit with Jella Junko during my half marathon. I gave him like he was walking, so I told him, "Come on, you got this, you got this." Like I was encouraging him to run, and that really like motivating someone else motivates yourself. So I got motivated from that. Especially the rest stations that had water and all those also were encouraging us to like run and run, right? Because they told us like go, 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 you got this. And then I passed the third station and I saw Deepakang. Yeah. I saw him running, right? So I was like, oh my god, he's doing his full marathon. He's running up and down, like continuously. I'm like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it, you know? So I just kept running. Eventually I hit the finish line. I finished earlier, but then I walked it out and then I ran towards the end. And I after my half marathon, I felt like wow, I Sam Uncle said, like I have to tell my friends now that I just did something mega big, and like I accomplished this task that I thought I couldn't do it.
Beautiful. You are such a good storyteller, Yash. Nice. You almost brought me into that day. All the emotions. And see, another beautiful thing, audience, I hope you were recognizing. Yash is a youngster. He's the next generation, right? And Jalaj and all are our group, our sort of, our generation, like our means my generation, father generation. But the running is such a beautiful sport. This runners high community is such a wonderful community right now that there is opportunities for two generations, two different circles come together, motivate each other because they're doing the common thing. The common thing is running, which is a difficult thing that we all are doing. The journey is the same. So I've heard this, like youngsters, like little Disha and Disha's friends. That day I was running with them and they suddenly stopped and they waited and cheered the Meghnas of the world, like who were running and they were doing the 9th mile. And I remember Meghna saying, man, that was the most motivating thing for me, like, youngster motivating me. So thank you, Yash, for doing that. That is leadership, by the way. What you just now did is leadership. Even in your time of trouble, you took time to motivate others and get inspired by others. That's really a very good theme and you should continue doing that. Very nice, Yash. Congratulations. How long it took you to finish it?
2 hours and 50 plus minutes.
Oh, there you go. Around the same time. And you had a knee issue as well, right? I remember you had a pretty bad knee issue in the last couple of miles.
Yes, I did. But I got it done. So
yes, I want to bring that out though. He was in severe knee pain, but he didn't want to let it go. He said, knee is not going to stop me from getting that half marathon medal. And you got that, man. And how? Well done. Well done, well done, well done. Congratulations. Raghu?
Yeah, so before I do half marathon, this is a funny story. So last season, you know how in the peak mesocycle you have the 10-mile run as the last finish. So as I finished my 10-mile run towards the end, I had this huge craving for having mirchi bhaji. So as I was finishing my run, it was like I somehow like to run in the evenings. So I was coming and finishing up around 7 o'clock in the evening, and it was a Sunday or a Saturday evening, and I was thinking I need to have mirchi bhaji after this, and I actually called while I was running and ordered the mirchi bhaji. So that was my preparation for the half marathon in the coming week. But anyway, coming to the half marathon day, as you know, Boston Bazookas are high pressure game here. Uh, the one day before the half marathon was where I felt severe pressure because I had everyone here in the house. They were planning out their route. They were also planning out how much time they were going to finish it in. They were planning out where they're going to put their water bottles and there was severe discussions on how we're going to do this, and I was going to the other room thinking I should not hear all this. I mean, let me focus on my half marathon. So for me, I think the day before was more pressure than the actual day. But the actual half marathon day, I thought went out very well for me. I was very relaxed. I usually run in the evenings, but on the half marathon day, I ran in the midday, sort of. And the trail I take actually starts off from a lake, and then you come back to the lake. So everything went well for me on the. In fact, it went very smooth for me in terms of the first mile to 10 miles was smooth, and I actually didn't feel any pain of any sort, any
Wow.
there's yeah, no problems at all. And in fact, still remember I had a small water bottle, and my wife had told me to fill it up with the hydro. I didn't have any one of those, what is that called, the energy
Gels. Goose.
goose. I did not take any of that. I mean, I just had a small water bottle with the hydration in that. And I actually planned very well in such a way that I finished that water a little by little, because if you have too much of water, you have to go and you want to go and pee in the forest during the run. And so I planned my run in such a way. So I did not have any problems of that sort. So I finished very smoothly. And the last mile, I still remember I was thinking, oh my God, I never used to be able to run 2 miles. Now I'm going to be finishing 13 miles. And it was, I mean, I cannot describe it in words.
Yeah.
It was really, really an awesome feeling. By the time, I mean, I finished the 13 mile, I finished it at the lake. I still remember I was alone. No one else was around me. I just finished it and went down to the lake shore, and I just sat down on the bench, and I thought, you did it, man. You did it.
Yes. That just tells you, buddy. Well done. Congratulations. That's a right, sign for you. 16 weeks of proper training is the reason you are able to do that. And since you are as it is fit, so you didn't have injury troubles. It's just that mentally, like what to Sam's earlier point, you sort of opened up your mind. What is it that you can possibly do? And then boom, here you are. And it's just a beginning, buddy. There's a lot more to come for people like you. Maybe a full marathon. I see a full marathon in you somewhere, because
Oh,
all the same drivers are in place. Your wife is doing it. You are surrounded by full marathoners now. You are
no pressure. No pressure at all.
Congratulations. How long it took you to finish your first half?
So my focus was to finish it. So I finished it probably in 3 hours.
3 hours. Brilliant. Brilliant. Fantastic, guys. Whoa, what a great story all of you had. Really nice. I feel like I did the half marathon with you guys when you were talking. So that just shows the amount of, the story and emotions you brought to your answer. Congratulations. So let's bring this podcast home. I can't believe I must have spoken for half an hour or 45 minutes now. It just went by really quickly. So Yash, few words of advice for a lot of newcomers in the group. Now they are not newcomers anymore, but still newcomer to the half marathon. They've still not done the half marathon. So what words you will have for them?
Yeah, so like I said before, that you should just take every run and just do it. Like, you shouldn't make excuses. I remember listening in Balanco's podcast, not one of Balanco's voice recordings. He said that when I put my shoes on and my socks on and get my headphones, put my shoes on, when you do all those, your mind gets ready for like the run. And basically, you want to make it happen, right? So like, you don't have excuses. You don't want to say, oh, I have this, that, or the other. You want to just get it done. One thing like doing, and I did this last season because it was during the summer training. I would wake up early at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and I would just go run. So I finish my run for the day in the morning itself, so I don't have to worry about it, right? And when you do that, you're determined that I did my run, that you like, even if it's run or shot or run, even if it's raining, even if it's like cloudy, right?
Rain or shine.
Like, yeah, you still get it done, and like that helps you stay determined. And just get your run done no matter what.
Yeah.
Basically.
Don't look for reasons to not do something. Look for one reason to go and do it and just do it. Don't overthink. Get out, do it. That's it. That's your main point. I think it's a very important point. Raghu?
So, by the way, I'm listening to this audio called Sapiens. I highly recommend it to everybody. And one thing I really like about this book is they tell we are all natural born runners. All of us are born runners. So there is no question. It's just that our lifestyle has become such that we always resist running. So I would highly especially for new runners, you will do it. I mean, it's basically a matter of getting into the program. Now, as a segue to that, coach is the most important person in terms of how you accomplish your goal. So I would highly recommend and highly encourage you guys to follow the coach's program. I mean, don't try to experiment with the coach's program. Do what he says or he or she says for, and make sure that you follow it to the point. And I'm pretty sure success will follow. And the third thing I would like to highlight is comfort zone. Find your comfort zone, meaning, um, some people, I'm an evening runner. My wife is a morning runner. And most of them here are morning runners. So people would ask me to run in the mornings, and I would resist saying, I like to run in the evenings. I mean, that is my comfort zone. So find your comfort zone. Make sure that you're comfortable running in whatever zone you want to run in, and you don't have to listen to other people and do what other people are doing. You have to. So that kind of will bring you to the last point that I have is have fun with it. I mean, you should not feel like, hey, today I have to finish 5 miles. Oh my God. I mean, that naturally will kind of build that resistance in you and saying, I don't want to do it. So that would be my advice to the newcomers.
Beautifully said. Very, very beautifully said. The comfort zone point is it sticks with me also very well. You are not competing against anybody. You're literally competing against yourself. So you got to find things that works for you to compete and beat your own self 3 days ago, to form a new you. So there is no other benchmark, no other thing that needs to be there. It's you who is a benchmark for yourself. And really well said. Comfort zone, I completely agree. I'll steal that thought process for future of my sort of weekend messages. Thanks, Raghu. Sam, how you doing, buddy?
Sure. So, one of the things I'll talk about quickly for new runners, right? As just addition to what Raghu said, comfort zone, right? Make it easy for yourself. So there is some amount of preparation to make it easy for yourself. If you think that you're having some kind of a thought that, oh, should I go for a run or not? But if it makes you that your shoes are placed in certain place, that you look at this and you start putting it on. If it is timing is another one, you like to run, what time you like to run and all that. So what they say that man is creature of habits. The same way, make it easy for yourself. Remove the other things around it, which makes it uncomfortable for you to make it happen. Just to add on to what Raghu said. The two things I'd like to say, one is that stick to the program, because this is like think of a symphony orchestra, building it up to the crescendo. The crescendo being the half marathon. You slowly build towards it. This program helps you build your, cardio, build your muscular exercise, build your mental strength, all of them together to that crescendo. So stick to the program would be my advice, which worked for me. I believe it'll work for everybody else. And the second is about what I earlier mentioned a little bit about metacognition, is that rethink everything. Once you join the program, or even before you join the program, rethink everything. Whatever you think to be true about yourself, rethink it. Because and for the book lovers in Runner's High, there's a book by Adam Grant. He's a psychologist. The book is called Think Again. I think the entire title is Think Again, the power of knowing what you don't know. Please give it a try. It's really, really good book, some interesting facts there. So what it says that whatever you think to be true, rethink it, there is a immense possibility that you can do things that you've never thought possible in the past. So that's what I would tell. Don't put on the disability cap that I had put on myself for all my life on many, many things, and give it a try. Believe in the program, stick to the course, rethink everything and give it a try.
Beautiful, beautiful. Challenge the status quo. Really, really well said. Wow. I'm just like, unfortunately, I have this a little bit of Achilles problem, but I got so inspired listening to you. I felt like literally putting on that shoe, Yash, that you're saying. No, I want to put on the shoe right now and go out. But I think Sam might actually do that because his long run is just coming right after this. But boy, that was just one of the best conversations I've had about this. And I know that you guys are rock stars, but when I listen to you guys speak, I know why. You know, you guys, there's a reason, you know, these things doesn't happen by itself. You guys finishing a half marathon doesn't happen by itself. Many inputs need to be in place for you guys to do half marathon. Otherwise, people will drop off. And that is what happens. See, that's why these kind of podcasts I only do after a person finishes a half marathon, because that is when they can talk about that journey. And all my guests are that. Who have finished a half marathon, especially I love talking to the first time half marathoners, because that's when the learning is just humongous. Learning about your own self, forget about the sport. It's about the own self. Fantastic, guys. Thank you for your time. It's a Sunday. I need to give a special thanks to this through group because the time when I gave them that let's do it was yesterday night at 1:30 my time. I pinged them and said, hey guys, I'm sorry, I forgot to give you advance notice in the middle of the week, which I normally do. And I said, I know you guys are my best friends, so do it for me. Tomorrow we'll do it at noon time EST. They said yes. And then today morning I pinged and said, oh shoot, I forgot that I had to go to Meghna's lunch because she invited me for lunch today. So we went there and I completely forgot. Then I requested them again that I'll do it at 2:30. They said yes. Then I pinged them again at something like 12:30 and said that, hey, sorry man, Meghna is giving us chai. So let's do 3. They said yes. And then 3:30, still not one word of what the hell are you doing, Bala? You know, that's the love and affection they have for me and I have for them. So thank you guys for that. Sunday, giving you the time and giving everybody the gift of your knowledge and experience. Thank you, everybody. And let's continue this journey.
Thank you, Bala. Great to be here. Bye-bye.
Thank you.